welcome everybody to the Twins press conference for the Minnesota Twins Caravan, Ball Van Beek at the press conference, and we've got four representatives here with us talking with the Twins. Pitchers Kyle Gibson and Caleb Thielbar, and former Twin Tony Oliva, and then also the play-by-play man for the radio, Cory Provus. And Cory's got the mic first here. Cory, you're coming in your third season, correct? Kind of talk about your experience being the play-by-play man for the Twins.
Well, thanks, Paul. It's great to be back in Winona. This is my second time in Winona as part of Twins Caravan in the last 3 years, so it's great to be back. But it's been a quick 2 years. Despite the win-loss record, I've really had a blast. Dan and I think have formed great chemistry on the air, and it's something that takes time throughout a long baseball season. But I think what helps with so many games, you develop that chemistry pretty quickly, pretty rapidly, and I think we've done that. And we're looking forward to year three. The Twins have made some improvements, specifically with their starting rotation. I think that has some people excited. And as Terry mentioned at our program last night, the offense for the most part remains the same, and it's just going to be up to those guys as individuals to step up. But as for me, I've really had a blast, and I'm just excited to be back here.
We'll talk about a little bit about the rotation of what you think about the moves the Twins made.
Well, the Twins spent a lot of money this offseason, really in ways and in means that they had never done previously, in that they put a lot of money into free agency, specifically with starting pitching, signing Phil Hughes and signing Ricky Nolasco, and then signing Mike Pelfrey to a 2-year deal to bring him back. Kevin Correa will be in the rotation, and that leaves really one spot left to begin the season within the starting staff. And a guy here is going to be competing for that fifth and final spot in Kyle Gibson, but he'll be there along with Scott Diamond and Andrew Albers, and I'm sure there'll be many more that will be competing in camp. I think you look at another move that was made, which is pretty significant, is that Joe Mauer is going to be the Twins' everyday first baseman now. And Mauer's days of catching are in the past. So with Mauer now at first base, everybody's hoping he'll be on the field healthy, ready to go for at least 150, 155 games, if not even more. So with Mauer now at first base, your catching tandem, at least to begin the year, is Josemiel Pinto, who opened up some eyes in September, and then Kurt Suzuki is a veteran catcher who's bounced around a bit in the big leagues. He brings a veteran presence. So there are some new faces, but really everything really kind of is pointed at the new look within the starting staff.
Maybe we can get some reaction from Kyle as to where you've been up to this point, and what the minor league action you've had, and how it feels to be playing for the Twins this year.
Yeah, I mean it's been a fun 4 full seasons for me. This will be my 5th full season, and I've definitely had some ups and downs through those 4 years. I spent a little over a year of that recovering from Tommy John. And that was definitely unexpected, but something that I was taken through for a reason. Last year was a lot of fun for me. Obviously at times, getting up there and taking that next step as to pursuing my dream and pursuing my goal was a lot of fun. And I think I learned a lot through those ups and downs. I watched a lot of baseball in the postseason in September when I was sitting at home and wishing I was playing. That's for sure. I really tried to watch how guys attacked hitters. Tried to watch guys like Thielbar and other young guys that were attacking hitters and trying to figure out, okay, well, he has success doing this where I didn't have doing this. I think I'm ready this year. Only time will tell, and once I get on the mound facing guys, then I guess we'll really figure out if I've made that next step. But that's what I've really focused on this off season is mentally being ready to physically take that next step.
Talk to Tony and find out what his take is on some of the new guys that just joined the team.
Well, some of those new guys, they have to think that, hey, I'm here in the big league right now. I believe ball player. I go to there and I go try to play the same way I play in the minor league. Because a lot of times when you come to the big league, it's, everybody in the big league is a little bit better. But it's the same players that you play in the minor league. Most, I think if you come from the minor league mentality, especially if you're a pitcher, you have to come and throw a strike. Shout it to those guys the same way you shout it to those guys in the minor league, and learn a little bit how the pitch, the catch, call the game, whether they want you to throw the ball, all that stuff. But you know, can be too picky because if you think those guys is better than you, you're not going to succeed. I tell you one thing about myself. When I came to a big league too as a rookie, because everybody was a rookie when I started in the big league, I was thinking I'm better than the hitting, than the pitching. That I know I was able to hit the ball. And the pitcher had to think, hey, I know I can get the guy out. And make it easy for them. This is the best way to have the right approach.
Cory, I've had a couple of years to listen to you now, and I think the time that you spent with Euchre has just rubbed off a little bit on you, because I hear that tone in the voice. I heard in Bob. Have you talked to him lately?
I have. I speak with Bob every few weeks. In fact, he's got a birthday coming up at the end of this month.
Can you tell me what it is?
Yeah, it's January 26th. Will be his birthday.
How old's he gonna be?
I don't know that because there's conflicting numbers. You know, you have to kind of go back. I heard one a few years ago, but then I've heard others go with another. So he's like a fine wine, though. He's getting better. You know, he's just getting better with age. But he's great. But that's a big compliment. I appreciate that. Anytime that I'm asked about Bob, I do it with I respond with a lot of joy because he meant the world to me, and he still does, and he's a dear friend.
If you could talk about the coaching staff. I know Paul Molitor is joining the staff this year. Maybe talk about your thoughts regarding Paul Molitor on the staff this year.
I guess Paul's always been a fixture in the organization ever since he retired. I mean, he's been around for, I think he was saying about 10 years last night. I guess personally, I probably haven't picked his brain enough as a pitcher. From a guy that had 3,000 hits and obviously had a lot of success against pitchers. I mean, I should obviously be picking his brain a little bit more, but I think he's a good baseball mind, so he's definitely going to help out on the hitting side a lot.
Molly's one of those guys that, you know, he was such a good base runner, such a good base stealer. You know, he'll tell you he got 3,000 hits because, you know, he could sit in the dugout and he could pick up things, how pitchers were giving pitches away. And, you know, it's as simple as if you just ask Molly, you know, during spring training, hey, you know, can you just watch me this inning, see if I'm giving anything away? It just takes him an inning or two. And he'll either find something or he won't find something. And that's something that I've asked him a couple times about, and you know, he'll give you the honest answer. If he thinks you're giving it away, he's going to tell you, and that's really cool. It's, you know, that much knowledge and that ability to pick things up that quickly, you know, is a reason why he's a Hall of Famer and had so much success.
Kyle's question is for you. I'm just curious, with the Twins going out and getting Nolasco and getting Peters, like you said, the process of recovering from Tommy John is still going about things preparing for the season for yourself. Do you feel any more pressure going into spring training now, knowing they went out and got a couple of veteran arms like that? And like Cory talked about, there's probably only so many slots left in the pitching staff?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think you know, there's probably one spot open right now. You know, I think there's definitely things that happen, injuries, you know, trades, you know, a lot of things can happen. But you know, I think it's good for the team, and anything that's good for the team, I ultimately ought to be pretty happy with, because, you know, when I go up there, I do want to win, and everybody on the team wants to win. So anytime that the team, you know, adds players to make the team better, it's something that I'm excited about. And you know, I just have to have confidence in my own ability that, you know, I'm definitely glad they've left one spot open to this point. You know, it sounds like they still might be interested in adding a player if they can, you know, find that pitcher for the right price and it's the right guy. But you know, at this point, I'm pretty excited, and I think that if I go into spring training and throw my best and leave it all out there, you know, I'm going to try to make that decision as hard as possible for the front office. And if I'm the guy at the right time, then, you know, they'll send me up north to Minnesota. If not, then I'll stay ready in Rochester.
Thanks. Cory, this question, I know that we did a little bit with Bob Euchre, but with all the years you spent with him and whatnot, you must have some great stories. What's your funniest, like, behind the scenes Bob Euchre story that you can tell?
Yeah, I mean, we're live, so I can't really tell too many of them right now without getting fined by the FCC right now. But you know, there's quite a few. I was reminded of one last night when we were at the event in Rochester. There were some Milwaukee fans there, and they wanted to see Molitor with his time with the Brewers. You know, I was not surprised there was kind of a Milwaukee contingent there, but a couple of fans reminded me of a really good story. There's a longtime sponsor with the Brewers. It's a sausage. It's Usingers. Usingers, they've been sponsoring the Brewers radio broadcast for a long time, and Bob is one of the spokesmen. In fact, he has his own brat. He has the Mr. Baseball brat. So in 2009, you know, it was a bad game, and we just had nowhere to go. It was the sixth inning. So Bob and I just ended up getting into a bit about Usingers sausage. And after Bob read the drop, the live read, he said, you know, you don't even need a grill to have a Usingers sausage. Just put it in your cigarette lighter, and it's good. Just pop it right in there and take a bite, and you're good to go. Well, we said that, and sure enough, some guy did it and tried it. And we get this letter a week later saying, hey, Bob, you and Cory were talking about it was okay to put the Usingers in your cigarette lighter. I did it. My car broke down. I'm sending you the bill. So things like that just pop up, and it was just, we had a lot of fun. And we let this guy have it. I mean, we just let it, you know, we didn't feel bad for him. We had a fun time, and just things like that. I mean, I don't really think of them off the top of my head until I'm reminded of them once again, and it just goes back to the connection between baseball and the radio, and the medium of radio, and how the two intertwine. There's not a better sport, in my opinion, that comes across on radio like baseball. And you forget about how impactful you are in people's lives, and whether it's over the course of the summer, over the course of many years. And so anytime stories like that come up, it's always good to reminisce.
Thanks.
Caleb, you've had quite a story in getting to the Minnesota Twins. Kind of take us through it. Is this how you imagined it would go, or was this kind of a dream come true for you?
Absolutely not, as far as imagining how it would go. I guess I was drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers, and my first summer with them was a pretty good year. I actually got moved up at the end of the year and pitched well at the better level of rookie ball too. And the next year they sent me to A ball. And I just had a down season. I started out pretty well, and just couldn't keep it going. I ended up having a stretch that was just terrible. I was giving up runs every single time out, multiple runs every single time out. They ended up sending me back down to rookie ball, and I didn't do real great there either. The numbers weren't as bad, but that winter they released me, and I guess I kind of decided to go back to what I had been doing before, and I got back to my old mechanics, my old workout program, and was able to get my velocity back to where it had been my senior year of college. And the Twins were able to take notice of that when I was playing independent ball with the St. Paul Saints, and they signed me at the end of that summer, and I played in high A to end that summer and did pretty well, and came back into spring training the next year and pitched pretty well all the way up to AAA that year. And then last year, I mean, obviously started out in AAA but came up in the middle of the season and thought I pitched pretty well there too. But yeah, it was a long road, and it was definitely not how I imagined it, but I mean, looking back on it, there was probably no better way to get there.
And one final question, Kyle, talk about your debut that you had. It was a great day for you, and I'm pretty sure you had a bunch of family there. Talk about how that felt, and kind of take us through that debut.
That was a lot of fun, obviously. You know, I think the 5 days leading up to it, or the 4.5 days leading up to it, I was probably just as nervous and just as anxious as I was on the actual day. I was very, very thankful that they did call me up on the 24th and to give me those 5 days to get adjusted. And then, you know, when the day got there, that night, you know, I woke up and actually had to go to the bathroom, and that never happened. So I get up and, you know, I go to the bathroom and lay back down, and it was dead silent in the room, and I couldn't go back to sleep. And it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I laid there for probably 40 minutes just thinking, I mean, I'm about ready to throw in a big league game today. And I finally had to get up and turn the air conditioning on just to get rid of the dead silence, and I was able to go back to sleep. But you know, it was surreal. You know, I was very lucky to have that many friends and family there, and as soon as I walked out of the dugout, you know, one of my best friends and the pastor of my wife and I's wedding, he and his 2 brothers bought front row tickets right next to the dugout. And as soon as I got to the top step, I knew he was sitting there, and I looked over, and it was like, I calmed down. You know, it was just one of those familiar faces that kind of took me back to college and took me back to my high school days. And I got out to center field and was stretching and throwing, and my senior year high school center fielder yelled down at me, and he was up in the upper deck in center field. And, you know, seeing those two guys, I wouldn't say it didn't, you know, I'm not going to say it took away the butterflies, but, you know, it calmed me down, and my preparation, you know, felt like any other game. And then I got out to the mound, and I told myself the whole week that I'm just going to throw a four-seamer as hard as I can right down the middle to get strike one. And for whatever reason, I changed my mind and threw a sinker, and I'm really glad I did, because I might have given up a home run on the first pitch to Gordon. But, you know, I think getting the first out of the way on the first pitch was really cool and really fun. And, you know, the fact that I was able to get a win in my first outing was awesome and just an honor.
All right, that's going to wrap things up here from the Twins Caravan. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.